right, half a day, and welcome to another episode of KUAM News Extra. Now, remember to follow us on social media, KUAM News on Facebook, on Instagram, as well as the YouTube page, and of course, the award-winning KUAM.com. Today, I am from my home once again, and I'm talking to Rosie Duenas. Now, Rosie, you are with Harvest House, so we've got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of different things that Harvest House is doing, so we want to get into that. But first, I want to welcome you to the show, and I hope you're doing well.
Thank you, Andy, and welcome to Harvest House. I wish that you could actually be here in person to be able to have a tour of our facility and to take your viewers on a tour. But this is kind of how we're communicating nowadays, and virtual tour and meetings is kind of what we're doing. So welcome to everybody. Welcome to Harvest House.
All right, so Harvest House, for those that don't know, you deal with foster children here on the island. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the history of Harvest House, because this is not a one-person operation, so it does take more than one person. And you've been around for a little bit, so tell us a little bit about the history of Harvest House.
Sure. So Harvest House is a ministry outside of Harvest Baptist Church, and really it was founded in 2009, and it was out of a burden that Joshua and Bethany Taylor had to really be able to provide services to Guam's foster children and foster parents. And so out of that burden evolved Harvest House, what you see today. And so through the years, we've expanded, and God has just been really gracious in providing us and blessing us along the way. And so right now we are able to service Guam's foster children and foster families, in addition to relative court-ordered placement. So CPS works very closely with us, and they are able to give us a list of families that have children within their homes, and then we are able to connect with them and be able to provide services for them, whether it's physical needs, spiritual needs, and just emotional needs as well. So we're really pleased that we can be able to provide support and services to Guam's foster families.
And this is not, once you find a family for that foster kid that you're just, oh, here you go, you're off on your own. Are you still involved in that process once the kid?
Sure. So CPS is actually the one that does the placement, right? Yeah. So once they've exerted custody and they've placed the child, whether it be in a foster home or in a relative placement is what they're called, then we're able to connect with those families. And as you know, when children are removed and exerted from their home, they come with just the clothes on their back, and so it can be a rather sudden thing. And so for foster families and even for relatives, they may not be equipped right then and there at that moment to be able to have certain items and supplies that would be able to help them provide for the day-to-day needs for that child. And so what Harvest House does is then we are able to have them come into our resource center, and we give them whatever it is that they need, from a car seat to diapers to clothing to hygiene products and school supplies. And all of this is free. It's a free service that we provide to our families, and it's just such a blessing to be able to have children come. They come from hard places, and to be able to give them the opportunity to come into Harvest House and to be able to pick things and have ownership and just give them a wonderful experience while they're here. So in a sense too, we also are a safe haven for that. Pre-pandemic, we would also have monthly informational foster parent meetings. And so that was a great way for families to be able to come and meet other foster parents, or if you just had a question and you just really weren't sure, maybe possibly interested in fostering, but you just, were kind of on the fence, or you just had more information you wanted, we were having those types of meetings once a month. So we also provide that type of service. In addition to being a place where other organizations and community members could also serve here. It wouldn't be uncommon for other public schools and private schools to have their organizations, their students come and do a day of babysitting, so parents can have that day of respite, and just be able to serve, provide this as a place for them to serve Guam foster children and their families as well. So it's a multifaceted facility that we can be able to just really be a blessing to the foster family community.
I was going to say, you mentioned it earlier that CPS, they handle the actual fostering and finding families and whatnot. So that system, you're kind of operating to supplement that and to help these kids, because sometimes the kids, all they need is just a little bit of normalcy. Maybe having that backpack, maybe having that, new pair of shoes or something like that to help them get into their new lives.
Absolutely. And so we do have a wonderful working relationship with CPS at all of our events. They're so supportive in providing us also, volunteers from their end to be able to also come and see and be a part of our events that we're serving their kids, essentially, is what it is. And so I'm kind of bummed that we're not having our events like we normally are able to host. And I know we're going to have to probably think creatively as far as doing our annual Christmas event as well. We do have 3 events throughout the year. The backpack event, which we just had on August 1st, we did like a grab and go type of event, and the island's pretty much used to that grab and go style. It's kind of the way to distribute things nowadays. But we essentially turned our parking lot out here in front of Harvest House into like an interactive type of a grab and go event. We displayed the backpacks and arranged it by character and age and grade. And so the families were able to drive up, and the kids can pick, their backpack from the window, and we were able to hand it to them. But in the past, which was like just 1 year ago, we would open up our gymnasium and we'd host them to a wonderful lunch and have wonderful games and really be able to have other sorts of activities to create wonderful memories and experiences for these children that really just come from dark, hard places. And so Harvest House is really that place for them to be able to see that there's hope, that there's love for them. Yeah,
and I've interviewed a bunch of people since this pandemic started with charitable organizations that work closely with people, and I have to ask the question, how do you work closely with people during a pandemic when you have to social distance and you normally would want to be out there, hey, bring the kids in, like you said, into the gymnasium. How have you had to adapt and evolve the operation a little bit more?
Sure. So how it's kind of doing, what we're doing now with Harvest House is rather than have the families come in to what we call shopping, which is they can come in and get the items that they need and that they like. But because of the current situation with the P-Core-1 and the shutdown, operational-wise, we are able to be open. So we do have staff here because we're a nonprofit that is really providing support to a needy demographic group, right? So they would either call us with their items or email us of their items of need or text their items of need. And then again, we kind of do like a grab and go. So we would prepare what they need, and then we would just kind of leave it out at our doorstep at a certain time, and then they would be notified to come pick up their items when it is ready. So we're still providing services within the community to our foster families and court-ordered relative placement.
And the families that are involved in this, they know about you guys, obviously. They're, I don't know if you have a big list, a group chat or whatnot. So everyone is kind of in the know. But for those of you, or for those of us in the community that are not fosters, that are not foster families, is there a way that we can help out or take, part in donating, community partners, things like that? I'm sure you're always looking for help.
Sure. Thank you for asking that question. We are a donor-based organization, and we have had wonderful donors just come alongside us to help us, support our mission, which is providing a safe haven for Guam's foster children, and really just helping them develop a heart for God. And so I'm so blessed by the donors that come through that are also sharing that same burden with us. You can find us at our website, on Facebook, or call 300-LIFE. That's 300-LIFE, and we welcome any type of donations, especially during this time. We do have a lot of local families that have really come through in ways. For instance, there was a family last week that wanted to just buy groceries for a couple of foster parents, and for them to be able to just buy a month's worth of groceries for Guam's foster parents. We just got a call the other day. Another local family wanted to donate 2 laptops to our foster families, because we know that distance learning now is kind of the new norm again. And so and a lot of our foster families right now are looking for resources and supplies that can help facilitate and assist them in extending the lessons to their home, essentially. And so we welcome any type of donations in the form of clothing, diapers, formula, and essentials. And these are things that we pass on to our foster families to help support them during this time.
Yeah, and this is one of those things that, it's constantly, it's ongoing. It's not like, oh, we raised, $1,000, we're good, we have everything we need. You constantly need this. Every kid, next year, they're going to need a new backpack or whatnot. So do you have like a storage where, hey, anything that we can get, backpacks maybe for next year, or shoes, things like that, is that what you're looking for? You kind of stockpiling things?
Sure. So we do actually have a container that was graciously donated as well. And so we do have an inventory of things that we do keep in there, because as you know, when children get placed into a new home, they're going to need everything from clothing to essentials to school supplies yet again. Or if you were a first-time foster mom of an infant child, you may not have that car seat that you need. And so those are things that we always have on hand. And again, we have wonderful donors within our community that just adopt us and make it a point to say, okay, we're going to give you the car seats that you need. We're going to give you the pack and plays and the diapers and the wipes. Those are consumables and things that are just needed by foster parents. And so, we just want to let, our donors and everybody that's just made contributions to Harvest House, thank you for coming alongside us and helping us, support our mission and to be able to be a blessing to every foster children and their foster families.
Yeah, and that spirit of community, I'm sure you've seen it quite a bit, that when people do find out that there is a need for something, then you put the call out, they're going to step up, they're going to donate what they can, whether it's food, groceries, school supplies, backpacks, things like that. But you can keep on giving, just contact Harvest House, follow you guys on social media. But if somebody did want to take that extra step, I know we talked about the foster that CPS handles that, but you work closely with these families and the children. Do you have any advice for those that maybe someday want to be a foster family?
Sure. So opening up your home and loving and investing into a child, it's not easy, especially if it's a child that comes from an abuse or neglected situation. And so if I can just encourage them to just find it within your hearts to be able to say, you know what, maybe, we could open up our home, or even just provide that respite care. We do have other families that come around our foster care families, and maybe they're not really wanting to foster, but just to be a help to that family, to be able to, say, okay, well, I can take the foster kids, or I can, let you guys, go and have a date night or whatever it is, just to be that help. But right now, Guam has 35 active foster parents, licensed foster parents, and there's about 354 foster children on our island right now. So there is a need. If you just take a look at those numbers, there's 354 children in our foster care system, and just 35 licensed foster families. And these children get placed in shelters, group homes, and with relatives. And so those numbers are not going down. And if in the spirit of Enough Malik and of taking care of our own, to just really be able to say, I might be interested in fostering, you can always call, again, 300 Live. And right now, Child Protective Services also has that the foster parent application. So they would be the agency that would be facilitating that application process.
And, you do cover so much. You've got quite the team over there at Harvest House. And we've talked so much about the physical needs of these foster kids, getting a roof over their head, getting some clothes, getting some shoes on their feet, that backpack for school. But another thing that you mentioned in the statement on Facebook is that you're there for the spiritual encouragement. I think that's pretty important because, having a place to live is great, but kids, they still need that emotional support, that physical or that spiritual encouragement. So how do you provide that type of service to them?
So absolutely, we're always wanting to let them know that God loves them, and that this is really what we're commanded to do, is to really come alongside and take care of the fatherless. And through Harvest House, we're able to share with them, to pray with them, to pray with their foster parents. We have many of them that are very open to that, and so they know that because of what we do, we're commanded. God has commanded us to take care of the widows, the orphans, and so this is what we're doing, is really helping them develop a heart for God. And it's only by His grace that we are here today. We started out with just a burden, and He's just graciously continued to provide for us throughout all these years, and put wonderful donors in route for us to be able to be where we're at today.
And you and your staff over there, it feels like this is something that you're very passionate about. This is not just a 9-to-5 clock in, let me do my job. It seems like you really want to fulfill this mission to help these kids and the families, and hopefully someday, there won't be a need for Harvest House, but it is now.
Yes, we love what we do here, and we're all burdened. We're all burdened to be able to help and to provide that support. And just being able to provide services to these families on a personal level, on a spiritual level, and to be able to come alongside them and say, we're here for you, we're praying for you. Right behind me is a wall with children's names on it. So every time they come in, we write their names down. And this is a representation, a smaller version of really the kids that we provide services for, and the lives that we touch and support. Because this is something that really is, like I said, we're just burdened for.
And I'm sure you've got quite a long list of success stories of people that have passed through Harvest House that needed your services at one time, but now are at a point where they can turn around and give back, or they're looking to start a family of their own. So absolutely.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's all right. And, it's just one of those things that you get to see the results, happy people going about their lives.
Absolutely. We're here for them as they begin, or they're in whatever stage they are with their fostering journey, and to be able to watch them with their children, be able to establish those relationships. Because essentially, once they're placed in these homes, they're strangers, when they're being placed with licensed foster parents, and to be able to watch these relationships flourish, and to know that they're being prayed over, and to know that, they have a safe place. They have a safe place in Harvest House to be able to call or to be able to come. If you were able to do the meeting here at our facilities, we have a cute little playground outside where the kids play, and parents are able to sit and watch them play while they shop. And we like to be able to have little, snacks and treats for the kids while their families are doing that as well. So it's just not a place where they can come and shop. We just really try to make it a safe haven for them and make it a special experience for them while they're up here.
Well, it sounds like it is a lot of work, but I can't imagine how rewarding it is. So Rosie, you and your team, I just want to thank you, not just for this interview, but for everything that you do for the foster children on Guam. Thank you guys so much. Anything you'd like to add before I let you go?
I'd just like to say thank you for allowing Harvest House to share our mission and to share with your viewers really what we do up here. And if you are interested in opening up your home and fostering, you can definitely give us a call, 300 Life, and we'll be able to help you answer any of your questions that you may have. Thank you.
Fantastic. Rosie, thank you so much. And please be safe.
Thank you.